Congratulations, you're officially first. And I'm here. Hi. Uh, well, a new Pokemon came out yesterday, and I was planning on going and getting it and trying to maybe stream it, but it's having so many bugs that I'm going to give it a little bit, see if they patch it out before I make any attempts at that. Um, but in the meantime, I may as well uh, celebrate and capitalize upon its existence. So we're going to make a classic. Durandria, hi. Um, so we're going to make a classic. If you're familiar with the Pokemon anime, especially in America, especially in the 90s, especially on 4Kids, um, Brock really loved those jelly-filled donuts. They didn't look like any donuts I was familiar with, but boy, he sure seemed to like them. So I'm going to make those today. In honor of Pokemon. So we should get the first thing started because it needs to cook and then cool before I can work with it a little bit later. Um, so step one of making traditional Japanese jelly-filled donuts, get out your rice cooker. Or a pressure cooker if you've got one. This would work in an Instant Pot, or even just a pan on the stove. So get the gentleman out of the way there, and little mushroom sticker. He doesn't actually have a good place to live when he's not on camera, so. Now, Brock never told us what kind of jelly was in his favorite donuts, so I've got some ideas to work with. Get over to the countertop. So, yon rice cooker. Girl Chan's hot dogs. We need a pretty substantial amount here, so. And we are using, oops, you can't even see because I'm off the wrong angles there. We are using sushi rice because it's nice and sticky and it'll hold together and let us shape our donuts. Not quite a bit of it. And it's definitely have to go in, this definitely has to go in first because we need to not only cook it, but cool it down for later. And the standard, actually, what does the bag say? 1.5 cups rice to 2 cups water in an electric cooker. We can follow that exactly. I can always find ways to use extra rice if I've got extra rice. And this measuring cup conveniently has a 1/2 cup bevel right up the halfway mark, and then I can do perfect, in theory, perfect donut rice. Put that guy away. And then this will cook on the side while I think about other ingredients. And we don't rinse this rice because we want the sticky starches to stick it together to form a nice blob. Jen! It feels like you just subscribed for 4 months like a week ago. How time flies. Well, thanks for the resub. Thanks for sticking with me. I don't know why anyone sticks with me, honestly. This nonsense. So that's how you use a rice cooker. You put water and rice in the thing and you close the lid. And then there's these buttons on the front. And one of them says white rice. And you just push that button and then it cooks the rice. It's amazing. Oh my God. Everyone's resubbing. I'm being stuck to. You're all fools. You're all fools. This content is not worth it. Thank you, though. Well, I was just saying we don't know what kind of jelly Brock liked in his donuts. He just said jelly-filled donuts, so I think we have some leeway to get creative with the jelly. To that end, I have picked up some tuna. I've also got some cheese. I've also got a green pepper. I think we might make a few different ones. We've also got a cucumber and this daikon that I keep working through. I know they like daikon in Japan. Yes, the price was good. Unfortunately, I was there last night, and I saw this piece of tuna and another piece of tuna without the discount sticker. And then I was there this morning, and I saw the same pieces of tuna, this time with the discount sticker. But I bought one last night as well. So I've got an extra one that I'm going to actually do a different experiment with. This was the nicer looking one, and they discounted it, so I was like, go for it. But we got to use it because when it's got the price reduced on it, it's short dated. So I've got two ideas with that. I've heard cheese. All I've got is Lacy Swiss. But I've heard of a cheese Danish. That's a donut. Right? So we've got things to work with. From my reading, the most popular jelly filling is canned tuna mayonnaise. I don't really want to do that, but I have fresh tuna, so we're gonna try something with that. We should probably crack that open next. I'm gonna have enough to make several of these, so I can do different flavors. Then we can decide which one is the best. I need a board because I don't want to slap this right on the counter. Real talk, I have no idea how 4Kids got away with calling these donuts, but who are we to argue? Let's. Okay, I'm going to take part of this off right away. I want these pretty small pieces because I want them to marinate very quickly. I'm going to try some poke-inspired flavor in at least one of them, which means raw tuna. But I want to marinate it. We're not just going to have naked raw tuna. And because I don't have a ton of time to wait for it, and I want these in nice little bite-sized pieces that can fit inside of our donuts, we're going to dice it small so that it can take the marinade quickly. I was also reading about salted salmon. Now, I don't have 48 hours to make salted salmon live, and I also don't have any salmon, but I was thinking of salted tuna, and I went reading to see if that's a thing, and it's not a thing in Japan, but it's a thing in Malta. Tuna does look jelly colored. I could see jellied tuna being a thing. Jellied eel's a thing. There's a little bit of, you can see it, these guys, there's a little bit of connective tissue on some of these that I don't think will be very nice if I eat it uncooked. So the ones that came out of that little connectivity part are going to be reserved for the cooked version, because I want to try a cooked version as well. I'm going to have a lot left over, which we're going to try making salted tuna with as well. That's going to be interesting. But let's get a dish for the marinade to start it. Do I want to do it in a bag? No, let's do it in a bowl. We'll do it in a dish. And again, if I have extra, no problem. I can use up extra tuna easy. Soy and vinegar are going to be my toppings here. I don't have. Ooh, I know. I don't have any mirin, but I do have sugar. So we're going to add some sugar to my soy sauce. What's that keeps jumping? Something on my screen keeps jumping, and every time I look over, it stops doing it. So I don't know what it is. I want that. I want this vinegar, unflavored, unseasoned vinegar. Vinegar will also help firm up our tuna. Because the acid will start to slightly chemically cook the surface of it. Okay, that can sit there. We will take another piece off of our tuna. Nice. This is a very nice tuna steak. Surprised it was in the discount bin, honestly. Okay, this part here definitely needs to be cooked because those white fibers are connective tissue and they break down easily when you cook them, but they are tough when you don't. This piece of tuna looks gorgeous. I could just eat that up. In fact, I might. I'm actually going to take this whole end corner off because it's got that fibrous tissue in there. And if I want to do other things with it, that's the part I don't want to use. So I'm going to use it now. I'm not sure what it does for the tuna. It's probably something to do with making the tuna swim good. I actually don't know what part of the tuna this muscle comes from. The musculature of fish is not one of my areas of expertise. So we're going to cook the next part here. And again, I want it to cool off, so we may as well cook it in advance. This piece, I feel like I could practically make a sushi hot dog out of it, which I proposed one time, and everyone poo-pooed me and said, no, you can't put sushi on a hot dog bun. I was like, why not? And nobody could tell me why not. They just said, don't do it. We're going to do a potentially stupid thing here, and I'm going to use sesame. You were the one telling me not to do it. Oh, I don't have any hot dog buns now. Yeah, I could make a hot dog bun out of rice. I actually almost did that today, and then I realized, oh, I could make. He told me it wouldn't be good. I argue that it would be good. I almost made that, like shaped poke hot dogs with a rice bun today, until I realized, oh, it's Pokemon Day. Well, it's the day after Pokemon Day. This would be a perfect time to make Brock's Jelly Donuts, everyone's favorite. Um, okay, we've got 2 nice logs of tuna and a chunk left over. Stickiness of the hot dog bun wouldn't work with the tuna. Well, no, it could. It could. You just got to get creative, and of course, Brock's Jelly Donuts come with a little nori handle, which we've got here, so your fingers don't stick to it while you're eating it. I'm heating up some sesame oil on the stove. I've decided to do this directly in sesame oil instead of neutral oil, which means I've got to take care of my temperature as well, because sesame oil will burn. It's not a high heat oil. The house smells great because of the heating sesame oil. That's true, but I have to pay attention to it. These logs of tuna, I've got another idea for. I just need a appropriate plate. I'm going to let the oil heat up a little bit. So I don't have time to do properly salt-cured fish because I didn't think of this. But I can just salt the heck out of these guys and let them stand at room temperature, and they will weep out some of their liquid. And absorb some of the salt, and that might just be good enough. I am comfortable experimenting with tuna because tuna is one of the safest raw fish options. They don't pick up parasites the way, say, salmon does. and they're quite tasty. Raw. We almost did poke, but I felt like I've done poke, and also it's not really a breakfast thing. Donuts, on the other hand, are a breakfast item. So here we are. Okay, let's switch over to the stove and add our chopped up tuna. To our medium, slightly less than medium heat pan. I want to cook it slowly because I don't really want any char. I've heard there's a new poke place in town here, actually, and I haven't visited. I always forget about it. Poke is definitely gaining traction here in the States. It's got a lot of the same appeal as sushi, but is much less complicated to make, and I think that's a big draw. Um, I know you're not familiar with the joke, so I will clue you in. We're not making sweet jelly-filled donuts. We are making Brock's jelly-filled donuts from Pokemon. Back in the 90s, when they didn't trust American audiences to know what Japanese food was, Brock held up a tray of onigiri. Oh, I've never taught myself how to put images on the thing. We can try. But they didn't trust. I never taught myself how to do this. I never took the time to learn OBS screen capture. So I guess we'll do that live. We can do it live. I was explaining. Brock had a tray of onigiri and held them up and said, "I love these jelly-filled donuts," because they didn't trust kids in America to understand that there were foods different from America. Okay. How do you I should have learned this ages ago. We're gonna have black screen for a sec because I'm learning what the heck. Oop. Uh. Okay. So that's the thing. That's Brock, and that's his donuts, and it just doesn't make any sense. And that's the joke. Let's get back over here. Um, the tuna is cooking. We need to make sure to stir it around to cook evenly. I want this to be able to flake apart. Which it's already doing. It's actually a little bit warmer than I wanted it to be. So bring the temperature down even more. Um, that wasn't so hard. I've got a screen capture set up for my second monitor. We'll just save that, and I can pop over and point at things whenever I need to. Convenient. I because I never do games and such. I've never bothered to set up any screen captures. I've just been getting by, which is not probably the best way to do this because it's not future proofed. Um, so no, unfortunately, we're not making. Fortunately, for those of you who don't like fish, these jelly donuts have fish in them. Although I think I'll have enough to make several, so we can try other flavors as well. We've got fish and fish. I've heard of a pickled daikon. Now I don't have pickled daikon, but I have fresh daikon, and I can try a quick pickle. Take some of these excess little root hairs off of here. My daikon root. I always lose a little bit every time I do this because I don't wrap it up, and the very outer edge on the cut surface dries out. Actually, before I start this, let's take that tuna off the heat and bring you guys over to me. Oh, Jen, you found some. Great. Someone yesterday asked me if I ever post recipes in advance so that people can follow along. Now, I don't because I have a habit of just winging it. A lot of the time, I have no idea what I'm making until I start, or at least the morning of. Which makes it real hard for that. But it would be a good idea to figure out what I'm making well enough in advance that I can tell people, and then they can potentially follow along. But then I'd have to learn how to write recipes that people can actually follow instead of the nonsense that I normally do. I should move that before it dries out or I get a bunch of raw fish on everything. But yeah, basically what I'm doing at this stage is making lots of options. Let's get another bowl. Put our cubed daikon in said bowl. With lost my screen. With salt and vinegar. We're going to do a quick pickled daikon. Vinegar's already ready. No, it got put back. I put it all the way back. Is this the right one? Yeah, that's the right one. Someday I'll make actual donuts, but I just did a fried thing. I don't want to do another deep fried thing. And you got to deep fry donuts. Well, not really deep fry because they float, but you got to oil fry donuts. And I'm limiting the number of those I do at the same time. I do have a cucumber. It's right here. And I do have. Let's see. I've got one really dried up gochujang that I may have already tossed because it was so dried up. Yeah. So we've got a brand new one. that I haven't even opened yet. So brand new one, not even cracked the seal on it yet. How do you do a quick cucumber kimchi? That's a good question. I saw sesame oil, sesame seeds, vinegar, gochujang, cucumbers. It also wants carrot, and onion, and garlic in it. This one wants gochugaru. I don't have gochugaru. I have gochujang. But it says they only take 20 to 30 minutes. So we could do that. Let's make one of those. Here, I can show you. That seems pretty simple. They're all kind of like that. Oop, 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 oop. I'm making all these things. I don't even actually know how many of these we're going to end up with. Hopefully, a whole bunch. Cucumber kimchi. This is probably going to be the closest one. English cucumber, got one of those. Salt, vinegar, gochugaru, sugar, fish sauce, garlic, sesame oil, chives. I could do that. I can do that. And yeah, if I have any extra, I can just munch on it. No problemo. Let's get another bowl. I am going to take my own advice before I get too much further and bag this boy here. We'll come back to him later. Maybe I'll have it for dinner. Because it's a nice piece of fish. The other one, I remember I said I picked up two. The other one, I'm going to try to cut thinly and salt cure because I just discovered a recipe for, it's the simplest thing in the world, for Maltese salted tuna. And it's just tuna packed in salt until it turns, and it says it turns almost into a jelly. Like it turns firm. Not like a fruit jelly, but like a gelatin. It turns firm. So I'm gonna give that a go. I'm gonna give that a try. I'm supposed to slice it thin, and that one takes a long time because it's curing it. But I will put that together toward the end here and stick it away, and then later on, when it has finished its long, slow cure, I can pull it out and demonstrate. Yeah, it reminded me of the salt cured eggs as well, which I've done once and it worked, but it didn't work as perfectly as I think it should have. What was I making? I was making cucumber kimchi. Take the end off. I don't. This has me make it in coins, like so. But I think I want little cubes because it'll be easier to wrap up. So, cucumber. So I'm going to cut them slightly thicker. Mm. Well, I like cucumber. Do these multiple at a time. So if you make salted eggs, take a picture. Tell me how that worked out. I made it once before I had started the show here, and I found it. It tasted good. I found it slightly difficult to use. That was my biggest gripe with it. It wasn't. The descriptions had me thinking that it was going to turn as firm as cheese and that it could be easily grated, but it remained slightly jammy soft. And I had a hard time grating it into things the way I was told I was supposed to. Okay, that should be enough cucumber to have some extra. Slice the cucumber, sprinkle with salt, mix around. A little bit more salt. Okay. Uh, Fresh garlic, huh? It says, while that's salting, make the marinade part. So we will toss that together. I'm going to end up using up all my rice vinegar today, which is fine, but be mindful to pick up some more. It doesn't give me proportions at this point. What is okay, I can make that. That's not too hard. Vinegar. Sugar. Salt is already in there on the cucumber part. Sesame oil. Sesame seed. Fish sauce. I have an open fish sauce somewhere. I've got a fish sauce that I have not opened because I don't use a ton of fish sauce. I've had this little bottle that I've not been using. This one. Got to use this stuff up, though. Which fish sauce? Oh, quite a lot of fish sauce, actually. Which is good, because I need to use some of that up. The salt's already on there, and then we need some of this stuff, and we mix it in. That bowl might end up being too small for this. Okay, now, my gochujang dried out last time, and I've been told it's because I'm not supposed to peel this plastic layer off all the way. I'm supposed to just open up the flap, get what I need, and then clamp it back down to preserve the stuff. Because when it's nice and soft like this, it's easy to work with. But when it dries out, it turns into this. It's so gummy that I just don't know how to use it, which is why I end up with a dried up one that sits there for ages and ages. So this time, plastic back down, and the lid clamps the plastic back in place. And in theory, it seems like you should take that plastic off because it's got this flip open lid. But the flip open lid is not airtight. So you leave the plastic layer on there, and then you just, it's counterintuitive. And I think the packaging is designed around the idea that you're going to use up the tub very quickly, since it's not an airtight top. And I think that's where the disconnect is coming. If I was making Korean food all the time, I would easily use it up, but I don't. So I'm going to leave that plastic layer on there. And that's my tip for people trying to preserve one of those tubs. Leave the plastic layer on there. Okay. It's not super well mixed because obviously there's still blobs of gochujang at the bottom, but once we mix it into the cucumber, that'll be fine. And it's already breaking them up pretty well. Okay. Cucumber, the marinade part. It wanted me to add carrot. I'm not going to add carrot. It wanted me to add chives. I think that's a good idea. I'm going to go grab some chives from the front. You guys keep an eye on this fish. Make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Oh, it's so nice. Well, no, now it's the overcast is rolling back in. We've had this terrible overcast for the past several days. And this morning, the sun broke through. It was so nice by comparison. But now the overcast seems to have rolled back in. Uh, that's not my favorite thing. It's also really cold today. Chives. Oop. Perfect timing. My rice just beeped. So we're just going to cut these with the scissors right into the thing that we're doing with them. The rice beeped. I've got to get that out of there because it automatically switches to keep warm because, of course, usually you want your rice served warm. But this rice needs to cool off before we can work with it. And we also need to get it out of there and mix it with some vinegar seasoning for flavor. Okay. Okay, that's going to be that. That's going to be that. Tuna can move to the side. We'll get out our large, wide steel bowl, which is this one. It's wide and doesn't have a lot of depth compared to the one that was directly above it, which is similar in size but has a lot of depth. Because I want to spread out the rice so that it has more of a chance to cool. It is currently too hot. Come here, rice. So we got a lot of rice. So we got room to make tons of these. Where's my rice scooper? Rice paddle. This is well, I suppose I followed the instructions and did the proportions it said on the package. The pot is still quite hot, but I followed the instructions, and you know, who would have guessed? It made my rice come out perfectly. And I'm not worried about having extra rice either. That's easy to use up. Heck, I could just make extra onigiri and put them in the fridge. Sorry, extra donuts and put them in the fridge and have them later. But this rice came out great. Mm. And then, to get your rice to its final form, we take seasoned rice vinegar as opposed to the unseasoned rice vinegar we had for everything else. And we give a, I'll put my thumb over it to give a sprinkle instead of a pour. We give a good healthy sprinkle. We mix it in. One of the joys of this specific type of donut I'm making is you can fill it with pretty much any jelly you can think of. And then we mix to get to that vinegar stirred through. So I was recently learning about the history of sushi. Because as we know, sushi is all about the rice, and you can put whatever you want into sushi. But the original sushi was raw fish packed in rice and allowed to ferment. And the vinegared rice we have now is a descendant of the fact that the rice would get sour during the fermentation process. And when commercially produced vinegars came around, it was faster and easier to add vinegar to your rice and then pack your fish in it than to pack it in naked rice. It's certainly sticky. It's sticking to my finger. So, although sushi is all about the rice, it started out being all about the fish, and then being all about the sour. Okay, this guy. This guy is the next project. These have cooled off a little bit. They're a little bit hard. Hoping they will flake apart in my fingers as they're cooled. Can I? Yes, okay. They break apart easily. They're a little bit toasty on the outside, but they break apart easily, which is what I wanted, because I want to make a facsimile of a tuna mayo filling here. But I didn't want to open a can of tuna while I had this nice fresh tuna. Um, how's this stuff taste, by the way? Mild, tuna-y, a little bit chewy. Sesame oil is a pretty mild addition. I think that works. Let me lick my fingers off real quick. And then wash my hand. If you're doing this for guests, I suggest not licking your fingers. If you're doing it for yourself, have at it. Go ahead. Lick your fingers. Apparently, that's a thing people complain about on internet cooking programs. If the chef handles food with their bare hands, licks their fingers, uh, touches raw stuff, people will get all bent out of shape like, oh, food safety. But you're not cooking for a restaurant. You're cooking for yourself. If I touch something with my hand, it's me. Nobody's ever mentioned something to hear about that, but I've heard it, and it's weird that that's a thing people complain about. Uh, okay, tuna. Now, actual canned tuna is salted in addition to being cooked, so I'm going to give it a pinch of salt. And then we're getting low on this stuff. This is my Kewpie mayonnaise. We're going to make a homemade tuna mayo. This I'm going to use a fork for to get it in there. This stuff isn't as soft as proper canned tuna. It's got much more of a firmness to it. It also doesn't have that fishiness that you get in canned tuna. It's not quite as strongly tuna-y. Give it a taste. Mmm. Mmm. Ooh, that's good. Ooh, that's good. Ooh, I like that. Ooh. 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 Okay. What's the next? Oh, we've got Let me assess what I've got, because we're going to come down to assembly soonish. Oop! Thank you for the moisten. I have been chattering away, haven't I? Moist. I have been chattering away. Let's see. These guys need their sauce. They've definitely been salting long enough. Let's pull up the recipe. I think the recipe wanted me to take the rinse the cucumbers and drain off the juice that they have expressed in the bottom. Can do. Gonna just do that directly in the sink here. Optional veggies. We only did one of the optional veggies. We did the chives. Ooh, excuse me. Do not squeeze the cucumber. Okay, I didn't squeeze the cucumber. Add this. Mine is a little bit wetter than theirs because we used gochujang instead of gochugaru. Gochugaru is the dried Korean pepper flakes that I never see. I see gochujang pretty regularly. I never see gochugaru around these here parts. I'll have to go. There's a big Asian supply store in the Twin Cities. I bet you they would have gochugaru. I haven't been there in a hot minute. Okay, so that's one item. See how these guys are coming. They're turning colors because they're picking up the soy sauce, and they're firming up quite a bit. This is probably ready. Fish takes up marinades pretty rapidly compared to other meats. So that probably is ready, and I should likely drain it. How are you guys coming? These have been in here the least amount of time. Well, no, those have been in there the least amount of time. These have been in here not enough to fully marinate. They're getting a little bit soft on the edges. Take a nibble. Crunchy. Crunchy. That'll be good. That'll be a good flavor. These guys remain. They're firming up. They're producing quite a bit of liquid in the bowl underneath them. Let's see. We've got tuna three ways. Because here's the tuna, the mayo tuna. Tuna three ways. Cucumber daikon. I have things available. I've got an avocado. We could do avocado in one. We could do avocado mixed with something in one. I mentioned at the beginning I have cheese. I've heard of cheese. I don't know if this is a good kind of cheese for it. Probably not. I don't know what kind of cheese they like in Japan, especially not the ones they put in jelly donuts. We have a vote for avocado. We'll see how this avocado works. I bought this avocado super green, and as you can see, it's no longer super green. I've been not trusting avocados quite as much. The ones that look super ripe, because I've multiple times gotten ones that are not ripe when you actually get inside of them. Let's leave the pit in that half. This is a little firm. But not problematic. It would be hard to make a guacamole out of this, but if I just want to cube it up, that should be fine. Oop, I punctured the skin. There's something resisting my knife right there. We might have a firm spot. Okay, since it's slightly firmer, I will just cube it and turn it inside out, and it should all fall right out of the skin. Super soft ones you can't do this with. They go kind of mushy, but since this one's not mushy ripe, it came out quite easily. There's a little spot right there that didn't want to cut. Most of these spots cut fine. I'm just going to take that. Oh, yeah, there's something really tough right there. I'm just going to take that whole chunk and throw it away. Rather than fight with it. Okay. We'll put those in a little bowl too. Okay, I say again. I want some fresh cucumber in addition to that. I did get the cucumber out because I was originally just thinking of fresh cucumber. So we're going to slice a couple of these. Oops. And do some fresh cucumber. Which will be diced smaller than the ones in the marinade. I should have done. Oh, that would have been good. Matchsticks for the marinade. I think that would have been better. Should have thought of that. Too late now. Chop, 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 chop. Little bits. Yeah, we've got lots of ingredients. We're gonna make a bunch of these. I mean, look how much rice I've got. I'm not being shy about the ingredients because I got a lot of rice. I'm also not being shy about the ingredients because any of these are great leftovers, and I can do other things with them, just snack on them. We got to get that guy out of his marinade. As you can see, the tuna has turned rather brown. And has taken on a salty, sweet flavor. Remember, that marinade was soy sauce, sugar, and rice vinegar. Let's taste one of those. Tastes like tuna. A little bit salty, a little bit sweet. It's firmed up quite a lot compared to the raw tuna. The vinegar and salt are responsible for that. This guy, I know we're not going to. This was also firmed up quite a lot. We're not going to get a full salt cure, but this is promising for my later salt curing project with the tuna, that it has firmed up even this quickly. It means we should be able to get it salted before it can go off. That's always the balancing act with curing anything. The cure has to set in before whatever you're curing has a chance to go off. Some things it's easier to work with than others. Salt is a classic, easy to work with. Smoke is a little bit harder. If you're using smoke to cure something, you better be sure you've got enough smoke and you're doing it quickly enough, because it's much less concentrated. Okay, diced that up. Let's have a taste. Tastes like tuna. Tastes like salt. It's firm on the outside surface, but it's still soft, raw tuna in the middle. It's pretty good. That's pretty good. Honestly, just salted tuna, I can't argue with that. It's results. Next time I make a poke bowl, I might just do straight up salted tuna. Okay, we got a million things. We got a million things here. Let's. The issue now is that the rice is still rather warm. It's not hot, but it's rather warm. Again, tuna, one of the safest fish for working with raw. This tuna steak was also previously frozen, as the packaging said, which means that it has been through a stage of deep freeze, which makes it even safer to use. Some fish don't go through that, and they carry a slightly higher risk. The deep freeze kills. They do actually do that with tuna because they want the tuna to arrive at port super fresh, so they freeze it out at sea, which has the added effect of helping to make it extra safe. Gosh, I've got quite the spread. I've got quite the selection of jellies to work with. I wiped down my board here because I don't want stray juices getting in the way of my nori. This one is not pre-sectioned. It's got instructions for using the roller, which we're not using today, so we can ignore. Safe to ignore. But It's an important part of any jelly donut, the seaweed handle. Oh, it is actually. It's got little perforations on it. Or possibly just dents. Probably just dents from the sheet that it was sitting on when they dried it. But we can use them. Maybe not. Oop. Ooh, I need a sharper knife for this. Thankfully, I have one. Even my sharpest knife is catching a little bit as I cut through these. Now, Brock's version has just a little tiny handle at the bottom. But I've seen other ones where the handle wraps super high. So I'm gonna just split these guys each down the middle. But if you're making them at home, you don't care about accuracy to Brock's version, feel free to leave a larger handle. That one broke. Have a taste of this stuff. Well, I'm tasting everything today. Just chowing down. Now, I've never actually shaped these properly before, so that's going to be the experiment today. Figuring out the shaping process. My rice handy. Stack these guys up on the side. And I know I need a bowl of water or vinegar. I don't have a ton of vinegar to make a bowl of vinegar, but we could make a slightly vinegared water as our option. If I have any bowls left, almost all my bowls are in use. We're low on mixing bowls. I could use the bottom of one of these Pyrex. So I'm gonna make a water vinegar mix. So a little bit of water. Cold water. Cold water. Cold water. There we go. You need some wet on your hands so that the rice does not just stick to you. The vinegar will help us add more vinegar flavor to our rice as we shape our donuts. Ooh. Wow, that's tasty. Just slightly diluted seasoned rice vinegar. Huh. Wasn't expecting that to be quite so tasty. And I need a plate to catch these as I produce them. There. Okay. Shall we start shaping? And you can critique my method and tell me I'm doing it wrong. So, oh, Immediately slop immediately slop some of my water on the board. Okay, okay. Vinegar, rice, little sushi handles or little nori handles, fillings. So I'm already doing it wrong. We we wet our hands and then we dig in a ball. We punch out the middle. And we take some filling and we put it in the middle. And then we take another ball and we pack it on top. And then we wet our hand. We wet our other hand. Firm the thing together. And then form a flattened squish it this way more. A flattened triangle. And then we take our little paper and we wrap it on and we got a thing. Behold, a jelly donut. Behold, a jelly donut. Selena? Hello. I've already got sticky starch forming on my hands. I can feel it. So we may have to stop and wash our hands in the middle of this. Ball of rice, flatten it out. Uh, salted tuna, avocado, cucumber, ball of rice. Oop. Wet our hand. Ball of rice on top. Fillings on this one are much chunkier. They may end up poking out the top, which my understanding is that's okay. Okay, this is going great so far. I am going to rinse my hands off real quick because there's a sticky starch layer forming on them. I imagine when you're making these in large quantities, you've got like a bucket of water that you just dunk your hands in to rinse them off and re-wet them. So next time you're talking to Brock about his jelly-filled donuts, this is them. Let's put our marinated tuna in this one. A little bit less. Marinated tuna in this one with some of our daikon quick pickle cubes. That should give us a fun flavor combo. That should give us a fun flavor combo. Oop. Ooh, the daikon cubes, because they're wet and vinegary, are actually causing the rice to not hold. Should have drained them first. I really gotta squeeze this guy together. Patch holes. I don't have to make them triangular either. They can just be round. That's an option. But the classic are triangular. Brocks are always triangles. Neat. Thankfully, when the daikon pokes out, it's white, so it does not show up against the rice. You can't quite see it. Um, Eating the stuck rice off my hands. uh, my understanding of the traditions here is that literally anything is fine. Anything goes as long as the flavors work. The Japanese choose flavors like salted fish, sour plums, things that they're used to. But you could do anything. You could do bacon and eggs, as long as they're not hot. You can do barbecue chicken. You could anything can go inside of these things. It's just a vessel uh, for fun flavors. So although I've chosen some quite Japanese flavors, although that's kimchi, which is Korean, um, which I'm going to use now. Um, so I've chosen quite Asian flavors. You certainly don't have to. Uh, it's like rinse that off my hand before I make the outside all red. It's like a pizza. You can put anything on a pizza and it's still a pizza. You can put anything on an onigiri and it's still an onigiri. It's about the form. I'm just putting our kimchi cucumber in this one. Getting a veggie one here. Although it's got fish sauce in it, so it's not a veggie one regardless. Yeah, Spam. Um, although I have recently discovered the superior Spam. I'm sure that will people will disagree with me. I'll show you in a sec, because I have a can of it. I think I'm getting better at these triangles too. Oop. Oh. Well, we can patch that. But my stuff broke through. Okay, hang on. Rinse my hands off again. A lot of rinsing of my hands going on here. Here it is. It's a competitor to Spam. It's also a chopped, it's a mixture of chicken and pork, so it's cheaper. I think this tastes better than Spam. It does not taste like Spam, but better. It's a different flavor, and I think it's better. And it's cheaper than Spam too. In no small part because they cut the pork with chicken, which is a cheaper meat. But it's right next to the Spam in the grocery store. It's a different texture too. So I'm not going to say it's just Spam but better. It's not. It's got notable differences. My plate is going to end up being too small for this. It's got some notable differences. For one thing, it's softer. It's more processed than Spam is. Spam has a little bit of chunk to it. We could probably get 2 more out of this based on the amount of rice I got. So next one to say flavor, I'll make that flavor. Everybody jump in at once. Eat some of this. Kimchi. We just did a kimchi one. We can do another kimchi one. Kimchi and salted tuna. Cucumber kimchi. With our salted tuna. Squished together. It's poking out the top a little bit. I will attempt to make that little pokey part the actual top. Our very first one is the tuna with mayo. So if I made a second one, it would be tuna and mayo with something else, so that I don't have a exact duplicate. The very first one was just tuna mayo because I wanted a classic. I wanted to start with the classic one. I like that where it's poking out the top a little bit. Some of them are a little bit lumpy. Tuna mayo with the cucumber, the regular cucumber or the kimchi cucumber. I think the regular cucumber. Okay, yeah. Wet my hands. We're definitely going to have extra ingredients, um, and no extra rice at this rate. I wasn't expecting to have extra rice, unless I just stopped myself. Um, Tuna mayo. Quick pickled daikon. I'm going to take some of the smaller pieces so that they're easier to pack in there. And fresh cucumber, which we actually haven't used yet. I'm probably going to throw the extra fresh cucumber just in this when I'm done. I'm probably going to combine all three of these into one bowl and call it a pickled mess. Pickled mess. Ooh, this one's full. Oh, no, it's coming together. It's coming together. Just takes a good hard squeeze. And then we make a triangle. The triangle's the hardest part. I think if I just made these circular, I'd have a better time with them. I think the triangle is the hardest part. I might make more rice later. I'm not going to make more rice now. Uh, but yes, I could make more rice later to use these guys up. There. Now that's a nice. Ooh, I've been slightly off the side this whole time. That's a nice, neat little triangle. And then we take our little daily, wrap it around the bottom. And then I don't have enough rice for another whole one. That guy's going to be in the front. The front's going to be that end. Oh no, that one's breaking. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. This one has a particularly wet filling. Oh, my hands are sticky again now. Oh, okay. Okay. A little hole long enough to get photos. Uh, okay, we've got a little bit of rice left. We have the advantage today of these things being served at, not only at room temperature, but also often after having been packaged and left to rest for a while. So I do not need to rush to eat these right away. Unlike a lot of my things that I serve hot. So I've got a smidgen of this left. I'm probably going to end up eating this stuff tonight. We'll combine them. The salted tuna and the marinated tuna will make an interesting combination. As mentioned, I'm going to take these three bowls and just combine them. Probably put them in I will put them in this exact container. And our spicy pickle will develop more over time and get nicer and nicer. Okay, that's an easy one. Slap a lid on it, stick it in the fridge, and it'll be better every day as I go back to it. The avocado I'm going to have to eat soon, so I'm going to snack on that. These guys, you can see some of them are breaking apart. The ones that had the little the pickled vegetables inside of them, I should have drained those before I tried packing them in here. The extra juice is kind of disrupting the integrity of the balls, especially these two. This extra tuna mayo, I'm just going to eat immediately. I'm just going to take a mouthful with a fork. Good stuff. That's good stuff. You just ate and you're already hungry. Well, that means I'm doing my job. Let's see, these guys. Here's what I'm going to do with these guys. This is fun because I get to show you what I do with the extras. Because I always have extras whenever I do this stuff. I always have some extras. And I take care of them during the cleanup phase rather than on the show. So I'm going to salt them again. A lot of hand rinsing. A lot of hand rinsing today. Not even just washing, just rinsing. Since I'm going to try to get to this later today, we're just going to slap some salt on them and a sheet of plastic over the top. And they will continue to cure in the salt for the remainder of the day. And the plastic wrap protects it from lingering off odors that can get in your fridge, things like that. That bowl and that bowl and that bowl are all ready to get packed away. I promised at the beginning, well, I promised when I was prepping the tuna that I would do one more thing with the tuna. For which I'm going to need the big salt. Not just the small salt, the big salt. Because I wanted to try salting that tuna. I gotta pick a container. You go have a hot dog. Hot dog sounds great, actually. So, the final thing, Maltese salted tuna. And it's got 2 ingredients. Tuna and salt. And a jar with a non-metallic lid. I'm guessing because the slow salting process will leach metals out of the container. And I'm also going to guess that that means they want an airtight jar. So I'm going to use a jar. Get out my remaining tuna and start by laying down a layer of salt at the bottom of the jar. Sounds like my salt has formed a chunk in my, there you go, okay. A layer of salt at the bottom of the jar. Get out our tuna. Now, I wish they had a picture of... They got a picture of raw tuna, and then they got a picture of a jar of salt, which is not incredibly helpful. But since my jar is pretty vertical, I want to cut this. I'm going to cut these into sticks. And if you'll recall, if you'll remember, I said, oh, I was there last night and I saw the same tuna at a higher price. Here's the same tuna. It was at a higher price last night. We've got more. We've got more. The piece I used, I thought was the nicer looking piece. This one did not look quite as nice to me. But we can break off similar chunks. And then I can use the end of it here later. So I think they want me to lay these in here flat. But there's no pictures of the process. That's a nice tuna. There's no pictures of the process. So I guess I'm going to try to put them in vertically so that I can really pack them in. Because this is a preservation thing. So we're supposed to be able to just put a bunch of tuna in a jar with some salt and get a preserved salted tuna after some weeks. So if this fails, if this does not work, I'll be out $6 of pretty nice tuna. That was a little bit long. We're going to take it in half. And then I've got a little tail-ended tuna here that I'll use for something else, rather than try to pack it in there. Yes, this will be an interesting one. Make sure to get salt all the way down in there. I'm also using kosher salt instead of sea salt. I hope that doesn't matter. Kosher salt is just much more available in larger quantities at a more reasonable price. I will have to remember to get more salt because it looks like I'm going to use up this entire thing. And I can hear it. There's a chunk in there. My salt has tried to harden itself. Salt used harden. I'm clearly going to use all of this, so I'm just going to cut the top off. And hey, this is a great chance. I was hoping to try a different brand, a competitor to Morton, of salt next time I needed to buy a restock on salt. I had thought it was going to be a while because I wasn't expecting to use a whole thing of salt all at once, but I wasn't just going to go out and buy salt because I wanted to try something new. I was going to wait until I needed it. There's our salt chunk. I'll crush that in there. Okay, that covers them all. They're all covered. I'm going to put the rest of it in my salt dish. Oop. A bit of cardboard in there. Won't kill you, but not good eating. Okay. This unexpected salt experiment is going to go in the fridge, and we will check on it periodically. If it changes, I will take pictures. Okay. You can see them kind of touching the sides of the glass. I don't know if that's going to be a problem or not. Fun experiment. Okay. That's going to bring us to our exciting conclusion. Hang on to that piece of tuna. That is not a plastic lid. That is a canning lid, a jarring lid. So although it is a metal lid, it's one of these guys. And they are coated. They're metal, but the underside of the lid part is coated. So the metal is not touching the food. So I think that's going to be fine. That's because that's how they make those. Because a lot of things that you put in jars that you want to preserve end up being acidic, and they would eat through a lid over time. Okay, that's the final project. Here's our onigiri. You can't really see them because they're from the top. Sorry, I said it wrong. Jelly donuts with various jellies. There is one last thing that we do with these. I've got it. I've got it handy. Just a little bit of furikake rice seasoning on the top. It's literally made for this. I'm going to go grab some snaps of this, and then I will take a bite. I'll let you guys pick which one you want me to sample first. Okay, coming back, rolling back. What do you think? Which one should we dive in on? If you can even remember what any of them are, or just pick one at random. No, I said you pick one at random. I kind of want to try this guy. I kind of want to try this one. This is the one that Jen put together. Oh, left middle. That's the one I was just pointing at. Okay, you hold them by the little handle so the rice doesn't stick to your fingers. And then you take a bite. Mmm. Salted tuna and cucumber kimchi. I think the cucumber kimchi would be better if I had made it further in advance and had more time to soak up the flavors. So I think that what I've got in there now will continue to improve. It's fairly mild as it is. It's a nice. Obviously, there's quite a bit of rice to balance out the fillings as well. But it's a nice salty, tangy filling. It's not hitting me with a huge amount of spice. Mm. The wetness of the cucumber does kind of interrupt the structural integrity of the rice ball. I will say that. I think if you're making this at home, make the kimchi cucumber further in advance and also drain it before you pack it in the rice so that it does not quite interrupt the rice so much. It's good. It's light, it's refreshing, it's salty and tangy. It's got nice crunchy bits in the middle, and I actually really like that salted tuna. I've never done that before, where I just salted some tuna, and that's really good. I'm gonna finish this one. I'm gonna eat probably two, maybe three more of these because I didn't have any breakfast today. This is my breakfast. Um, um, but I'm not gonna just scarf them all down here. Nobody wants to see that. Good combo. I think I would actually like them with a larger piece of seaweed holding them together. I think they would have more integrity. I was already falling apart. I think it would help them have more integrity and also be easier to hold because there'd be less sticky spots. Um, mm, mm, that's a good combo. Um, well, there you have it. What's the quote? These donuts are great. Jelly filled are my favorite. Brock's jelly filled donuts, just like they have them in Pokemon. Exciting, delicious. They were pretty easy. I deliberately kind of putzed around to chew up some time because I think if you were just dedicated to these, you could make these real quick. Some of them came out perfectly shaped. Some of them are a little lumpy. But I'm very, very pleased. I said the thing. Oh my God. I did say the thing. I'm going to wrap us up so that I can wander off and enjoy these. Although, as said, not so much urgency on these guys because they're meant to be eaten at room temperature. But I don't have anything else to do besides clean up. Mm, really good. Um, mm, mm. I can tell you, because for once I've planned ahead several days, I will not be here for Thanksgiving. I can't do a Thanksgiving show on Thanksgiving, but I will be here on Tuesday. And my plan is to make Thanksgiving for one. Since I'm here by myself, I'm going to make a Thanksgiving dinner, like a how-to Thanksgiving dinner for one. I've got a turkey thigh, just one turkey thigh. We've got a sweet potato. We've got some stuff. So I'm going to make it's going to be a feast. It's going to be a lot of food still. But it's going to be Thanksgiving for one because I'm traveling to visit my parents for Thanksgiving, and we'll be having Thanksgiving dinner there. And I did try streaming from there once before. I couldn't get the connection to stabilize enough to make it watchable, so we pulled the plug on it. And they haven't upgraded their system since then, so it's going to be the same problem. But I'm planning on doing a Thanksgiving for one show on Tuesday, and then we probably will not have a Saturday show next week because of travel. Although I might, maybe we'll get lucky and I'll squeeze in a Sunday, or perhaps I'll have my other room rigged up at that point, and I can do something non-cooking that's easy to just jump in on. But that's the plan at the moment. I should be planning things out in advance and announcing what I'm doing ahead of time. Oh yeah, I kind of want to do beets. I kind of want to do beets. But I'll talk to you about it later. Let's go send the raid on somewhere. Who is doing what? Okay, a couple people are playing. Twiggy's just chatting. Could say hi to Twiggy. Last time I went to Twiggy, she was super concentrated on the game and couldn't stop and say hi. A couple people are playing the Dark Pictures anthology, The Devil in Me. I haven't seen that one, so I don't really want to spoil myself on it. Do we have any suggestions for a raid before I just pick somebody? Since we've got some people in here, never hurts to ask if you've got any good ideas. Give that a quick think, and I will put a few things away before I forget them. Is Jen on right now? Oh, Jen is on right now, playing Slime Rancher. Oh, that I know two Jens. You, Jen, I know you're not on because you're chatting right now. Jen the Human is the other Jen. Jen the Human is on. Sorry, Jen. I knew I was talking about Jen while Jen was here. No, I know you're not on because you're in chat right now. Sure. Let's go see Jen the Human, who's playing Slime Rancher. Pop back up to my face. Howdy, it's my face. So I had a great time today. That was fun. These are tasty. They were pretty easy to make ultimately. I spent a lot of time making different fillings to put in them. If I just made one filling, this would have been easy peasy. I recommend going for this. I've actually got seaweed left too. You can just snack on like a chip. Because I cut more than I needed. But yeah, you could also probably do this with regular rice if you really wanted to. Just make sure not to rinse it. It'll get sticky. It won't get quite as sticky, but it'll be close. But yeah, so I already talked about my plans for the coming week. So I guess I'll just stand here and appreciate everyone who came out today. Good stuff. And yeah, let this timer run down and I'll stare at you for a little bit.